begin tonight with a tragic explosion on the Trinity Spirit Floating Production Storage and Offloading Vessel Unit, which is a floating vessel of Sheba Exploration and Production Company, SEPCOL, a company that is in receivership. Well, according to the management of the company, fire engulfed the FPSO following an explosion during the early hours of Wednesday, the 2nd of February. The FPSO is located at the Ovieteme Terminal on the western edge of the Niger Delta in shallow water offshore, very near the Meren field. The facility is also located near the Chevron-operated Escravos oil terminal.
Well, SEPCOL's Chief Executive Officer Ekemefuna Okafor confirmed that there were 10 crew members on board the facility when the incident occurred, and they're yet to be accounted for. Okafor said the cause of the explosion is being investigated as efforts continue to contain the situation. The company says immediate assistance was provided by the Clean Nigeria Associates, the Chevron team operating in the Escravos facility, as well as community stakeholders and fishermen.
Well, for the latest developments, a rights correspondent Ovieteme George joins us from Yenagoa, Bayelsa State. Ovieteme, glad to have you join us. We know that 10 crew members, like we read a while ago, were on board this particular facility. What more can you tell us about this explosion?
Good evening, Ndi and Ngozi. Well, it's a sad day yet again. A recurring decimal in the Niger Delta is what we are witnessing right now. But this time not in Bayelsa, usually the troubled spot, but in Delta State, the Escravos River, somewhat close to Ondo State. Well, I hear the fire has been extinguished. Now, that is a bit of cheering news, and that could be the reason I also got information that there would be a joint investigation visit of NOSDRA and other agencies tomorrow being Friday. I believe that's going to happen, and I would like to be there to see what happens. Okay, I spoke with somebody much earlier in the day, and he told me that they actually have been going to that facility, interact with those who have been working there, but they couldn't do that today because they couldn't have access to the place. The fire was still burning at the time, he told me. Now, these are persons they've been relating with. We talked about 10 persons. Their whereabouts still unaccounted for. That is just a slur in this narrative. After the good news that the fire has been extinguished, we still don't know where the whereabouts of the 10 persons. That's just the concern at this point in time. So when I get there tomorrow, I'll get more information. But the company has done well to acknowledge, and I appreciate the people who have been supportive there. Even the fishermen have also tried. But you see, rescue efforts have been going on, and by the dawn of tomorrow, we'll definitely get more information about that. But the 10 persons still unaccounted for. That's the sad story.
Yes, indeed, Ovieteme, if you can, very quickly, what are the concerns of the people of the Niger Delta with this latest development?
Wow. One too many incidences of such nature. One too many. Follow me, please, if you can. Let's go back to 2012, January to be precise. The then governor of Bayelsa State, Henry Seraki Dixon, had just assumed office, and then there was this problem. Well, a Chevron facility, a gas blowout, and the fire raged on the river for about 46 days. Now, if you can do the math, 1 month and probably 2 weeks, the fire raged on the river. That was in the administration of President Goodluck Jonathan. And then who was the Minister of Petroleum Resources, Diezani Alison Madueke? It was in the North Apor Chevron rig in that Atlantic fringe, bordering communities like Kolwama, the Zetu, Ekeni, the Kefes communities, that area, Sangana, and it raged for 46 days. Now, that was a bit of concern for the people, not just in the immediate communities, but the people of the Niger Delta. Why should fire be on the river for that long, wasting away natural oil and gas assets? But then the threat to the people, the community, was what gave people much concern. Now, just recently in December 8th, ITO oil production company was able to cap its well after 1 month and some days. So these things are happening even few and far between, but then so much to give one great concern. And now this has happened, not in Bayelsa, but in Delta State. Why is it happening in the Niger Delta? That's the question and concerns of the people. What are the measures taken by companies? Now, we understand that has to do with ITO, was a facility owned by Shell, but it was, of course, sold to ITO. Now, this one is an indigenous company. Well, I would want to take the words of the Chief Operating Officer, Ovieteme George, that they are trying to do, put certain things in place to ensure that the calamity does not exceed what has happened so far. But again, pollution in the river, of course, it will affect flora and fauna. The aquatic lives are threatened in that area. The communities will bear the brunt. Though it is the offshore facility, not directly linked to communities, but it is still the same story of pollution in the Niger Delta, unabated. When one stops, another one happens. It's just like the stubborn gray on the head. You pluck one off, another pops up in its place. That's the situation in the Niger Delta. So much of concern.
Ovieteme George, thank you so much. You couldn't have put it any better. Thanks for giving us the updates there.